All right, guys, the past few days we have been doing multiplying fractions, so now we're moving on to dividing fractions. So dividing fractions, we have some steps to follow that will help us. So we're going to go over these steps first before we actually start dividing some of these problems. Okay, so when we are dividing fractions, the first step is to convert whole and mixed numbers into improper fractions. That step should sound familiar because that was the first step in multiplying. Okay, so the same thing. We don't want to have whole numbers. We don't want to have mixed numbers when we are multiplying or dividing. Step 2 is that we are going to keep the first fraction the same. Okay, and you guys should be typing these words into your journal. You guys have the spots in there to type them. Step 3 is that we are going to change the division sign. We're going to change that to be multiplication. So we already know how to do the multiplication because that's what we spent the last 2 days doing. So we're simply going to change division to multiplication. When we do that, we have to do step 4, which is to flip the second fraction. When we flip the second fraction, what that is called is finding what's called the reciprocal. So the reciprocal. And once you find that reciprocal, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to simplify if possible. Remember, just like multiplying, if we can simplify in the beginning, it makes our answer a lot easier. Okay. Step 5 is that we are going to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So we're going to multiply straight across just like we did with multiplication because that's what we're doing. And then our last step is to simplify if possible. Okay, so simplify if it's possible to simplify. It may not always be possible to simplify, but we're going to try to if we can. And remember, if we end up with an answer that is an improper fraction, we want to make sure that we turn that into a mixed number. Okay, so I'm going to condense all these steps into something that will be easier for you to remember. So we're going to say that we keep, because we keep the first fraction the same, then we change, because we changed division to multiplication, and then we flip, because we flip the last fraction over on its side. So we're going to keep, then change, then flip. Okay, that's an easier way for us to remember how to do it. All right. This is just a little note down here about the reciprocals. Okay, so remember we said that the reciprocal is when I flip the number over. So when I flip the number over, I'm really, the numerator and the denominator are switching. If you multiply any number by its reciprocal, the value will always equal 1. So just some interesting things there for you. All right, we're going to move on to the next slide. So on this next slide here, this is where we are actually dividing our fractions. We're actually going to do it now. Okay, so I put at the top for you guys, always remember keep, change, flip, because that's what we need to do. Okay, so if we look at the first problem up here on the top right, we're going to keep, change, and flip. So I'm going to keep the 1/2 the same. I'm going to change division to be multiplication, and I'm going to flip my 1/4 over, so it's going to be 4 over 1. Then I'm going to multiply straight across. So 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, now I need to simplify this because that is not my final answer. Okay, so 4 and 2 are both divisible by 2. Divide by 2. and we get 2 over 1. But that is still improper, and 2 divided by 1 is equal to just 2. So our answer is 2. Okay. All right, moving on to our second one here. On our second one, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to keep the first one. So keep 3/4. Change division to multiplication, and then flip our second fraction. So it's going to be 9 over 2 instead of 2 over 9. Okay, then we are going to multiply straight across. So 3 times 9 is 27. 4 times 2 is 8. And that's improper again because the bigger number is on top. So that means when we find our answer, we're going to see 8 fits into 27 3 times, and 8 times 3 is 24. So that means we have a remainder of 3, and we keep our denominator the same. So my answer is going to be 3 and 3/8. Okay, 3 and 3/8. All right. This one down here, we have an improper fraction. Uh-oh. So we're going to take our denominator, multiply by the whole number. So 2 times 1 is 2. Add what's on top. So we have 3 over 2. Change division to multiplication. And then we're going to flip this one over. We have 2 over 3 right now. We're going to flip it to be 3 over 2. So we're doing 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. So 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. And uh-oh, it's improper again. We haven't been getting very lucky with these impropers. Okay, 4 fits into 9 2 whole times. There's going to be 1 left over, and then we keep the denominator of 4. Okay, moving back up to the top here. Okay. All right, when we have a whole number, we put it over 1. Okay, because 3 over 1 is 3 divided by 1, which is still 3. So we didn't change the number. We just kind of changed how it looked. So we're going to do the same thing. So keep the first one. So keep 3 over 1. Change division to multiplication. And then flip our fraction over. So instead of 1 over 4, we're going to have 4 over 1. We just flipped it on over. Now we're going to multiply across. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1, and 12 over 1 is really equal to 12. Okay, now I want you guys to pause the video, and I want you guys to do these last two at the bottom down here. All right, for those of us that did those, when you do that, you're going to end up with 1/3 times 1/2, which is going to be equal to 1/6. And then for the last one, you change it to 9 over 1. So you do 9 over 1 times 7 over 3. You end up with 63 over 3, which we have to simplify, and our final answer is 21. So now you guys are going to go into Schoology and complete your assignment for today. It has a little bit of dividing and then some review to get you guys ready for your test tomorrow. It's a review on multiplying and dividing fractions and multiplying and dividing decimals to get you ready. Have a good day.